I think it's time for a social media detox. I think it's time to kind of figure out what I can do with all the extra time I have, not doom scrolling, not being on social media, how I live my life without posting it. I think the ultimate goal I hope to accomplish through this video is to develop new patterns of healthy social media use, because I definitely don't think all social media is bad. I think it can be used for good purposes. I think it can be educational. I think it can help connect you to other people. But we have to remember that there's a real world outside of this whole cloud. I don't want you to think that through this video, I'm trying to down people who are on social media, because me, myself, and I am on social media, and I am a #1 doom scroller. I am a #1 social media person. So this process is really just for me, myself, and I, and trying to rewire my brain into not using social media in the way that I have been for the past, I don't know, like 10 years maybe. Let's chat about how we even got here. First of all, I'm so thankful that I had a social media free childhood for the most part. January 30th of 2009 was the first time I started a social media account, and that was Facebook. Those were the days when people would do those challenges. They would say, like my status, and I'll tell you what I think about you, and they would write something nice about you on your Facebook profile. Those were the days of using PicMonkey for your photos. And because nobody had a history of social media before and didn't understand the consequences, some people were definitely oversharing, and then in the future it came back to bite them. I think that back then nobody really understood the finality of posting on the internet. I probably started my Facebook account because that's just what everybody was doing, and I didn't want to be the one person not on a platform. There's a lot of things I am not willing to do to fit in. Downloading a silly little app on my phone seemed pretty simple enough. So Facebook was the it platform for a little bit, and I remember having it in high school. And also during high school, Instagram became a thing. And Instagram was a whole nother beast. To be honest, Facebook never had the same hold on me as Instagram ever did. Jonathan Haidt, Haidt, wrote a book called The Anxious Generation, which is a really good read, especially if you are a parent or becoming a parent, or just wanting to learn about why our generation is the way it is. He talks a lot in that book about how the introduction of social media has impacted our generation and how damaging it actually is to developing minds, specifically with teenage girls. And from my experience, I found it to be quite true. At first, Instagram was fun. I loved taking and posting pictures. I loved capturing those memories, especially in such a special time in my life. But Instagram, for me at least, especially with my teenage girl mind at the time, very quickly became a huge comparison game. It became the place where you look to see who was hanging out with who without you, who was the skinniest, who was the prettiest, who had the best life, according to what they're actually posting on social media. That's kind of when reality felt like it was getting distorted. And because everybody else was posting so much about their perfect life, that's the kind of content I felt like I needed to post as well. It was kind of like this big game of everybody trying to one-up each other, and it was truly exhausting. In that stage of my life, social media, specifically Instagram, hurt more than helped. And even though it was such a toxic app to me, I still continued with it, and I was still so addicted to doom scrolling and just being there because everybody else was a part of it. When I got to college, I was introduced to Twitter when it was actually still Twitter and not X. That was never a main competitor for me, and I just wanted to be a part of the platform that everybody else was a part of as well. Kind of the issue that came with Twitter is that people who are on Twitter are extremely opinionated, and it kind of felt like the more I doom scrolled on Twitter, it felt like I was being, in a sense, brainwashed, basically being told what to think. Obviously, you choose who you follow, and if you are following somebody who has an opinion that is completely different than yours, that doesn't mean you have to change your mind. It did feel like extra unnecessary voices that were changing my thoughts, changing my opinions in not the best way. It was probably the summer of 2020 that I finally just got rid of Twitter, and I deleted the app altogether, and honestly, I haven't looked back since. And I'm hoping that through this process, I realized that some of my social media apps are not worth it and not worth my time and my energy. I'm not gonna lie, I really did wait a very long time to actually download TikTok. I was probably one of the last people to download TikTok. I always thought it was just a dancing app. I didn't think that it would be anything beneficial to me. Back in the day when there was Vine, I never downloaded Vine either, so I just thought it wasn't gonna be an app for me. I don't know what exactly made me want to download TikTok, but I finally did. I actually learned a lot on TikTok. I kind of used it as a search engine almost. If I needed to know how to do my hair a certain way, or if I needed to know how to fix something or anything like that, it was just a very shortened, concise version of a Google search or YouTube even. TikTok quickly became the platform that's the easiest to doom scroll on. TikTok is the most engaging. There's so many more people on the platform. Instagram felt like so much more of a performance and an aesthetic. Some people post things on there that it's the most raw and real things. That makes these people a lot more relatable. Real life things happen. And so it's nice to be able to have real and raw people and stories shared on TikTok and being able to relate to that. But TikTok truly is the platform that doom scrolling has become the easiest, and that's probably the platform that I spend the most time on. Obviously with TikTok there's a lot of opinions on there as well. You can follow who you want to follow, and obviously if you don't want to hear other people's opinions, only watch the feed where you're following people on and not the For You page. But then it kind of got to the point where social media became a part of my daily routine, and it was taking up my time and it was taking up my brain space, and that's when it became a problem. I kind of got sick and tired of depending on it to either, I don't know what it does. It's either just a way to decompress. I think it's a way to avoid my real life. And it's not a healthy thing to depend on this cloud of people and cloud of opinions and judgments and fake narratives to be able to function and to be able to cope with things. Social media should not have a strong enough hold on me that I wake up to it and I go to bed to it. To me, it's kind of honestly sad that it's gotten to this point. I don't want to waste my life watching other people live theirs. We are on day 5 of this challenge, which means we have made it to our very first weekend of no social media. I'm not gonna lie, obviously during the week there were times where I thought, man, it would be nice to just scroll on social media, see what's happening, see what's up. But throughout the week I'm working, and so I don't really have time to think about that from the majority of the day, which is really nice. With my weekends, obviously I have a ton to do that I wasn't able to do during the week, so I do have a lot of things I need to get done, and I don't need to be thinking about social media. I think that the weekends are going to be the toughest to stay away from social media just because I have just a little more downtime than I normally would during the week. Today I'm feeling my day. I had to go to the post office for sure. I had to get my tires changed. I think I'm gonna walk back home. It takes an hour to walk back home from getting my tires changed, but I need the exercise and it's a beautiful day, so I definitely need to clean the house and do all that stuff. Today will be a good day. So I've been thinking quite a bit about my social media time usage and all of the time that I have wasted on social media. I don't even want to try to calculate that because I know that it will be extremely depressing and not a good number. Time is extremely precious. We don't have a lot of it. There is no reason I should be so focused on a screen in front of me 24/7. I want to find a way to have free time and to have downtime and not feel the need to be the most productive person in the planet. But I think what my instincts are wanting to do is that instead of doom scrolling all the time, I'm wanting to be 1000% productive, and I don't think that's healthy either. I think I do need downtime and chill time and time to decompress and ways to cope without using social media, without having to distract myself with all the tasks and things I have to get done. There is that fine line, there is that balance, and I hope I find it this month. I'm also trying to figure out why I'm so dang hooked to social media. Is it the dopamine? Is it the way to decompress? Is it the way to know what's happening, what's going on? I don't know what the pinpoint is, and maybe it's a combination of all those things, but some way it has to be controlled before I let it control my life. One thing that's really helped me actually is I have this automation on my phone. From 9 p.m. to 9 a.m. every single day, my phone automatically turns black and white, and that helps because then it's way less stimulating. I don't really want to look at my phone because it's honestly really boring in black and white. And I think that has helped me not feel the need to scroll before I go to bed and scroll as soon as I wake up. It was so crazy, my mindset in college, specifically with Instagram. I would think about so deeply how each post affected each post, and I would think about my feed and the aesthetics of it. I remember I wouldn't post too many selfies because I didn't want people to think I was too selfish or too full of myself. I wouldn't post too many pictures with too many guys because I didn't want people to think that I was guy crazy. It was honestly terrible how I thought so deeply into it. With with social media, I don't think it's really a generational thing. I think fully developed minds can handle social media a little bit better. I think Gen Alpha, Gen Z, Millennials, whatever, Gen X, Boomers even, there are parts of every single generation that does have, for lack of better words, a social media addiction. And if that's something you're okay with and that's something that's healthy to you, go for it by all means. For me, I'm kind of sick of it. So we're on day 12 of no social media, and let me just say, I miss it a little bit. Is that bad? It just is what it is. I'm kind of past the point where it's not like an instinct for me to pull out social media. I really will say the hour before I go to bed, that's when I really want to scroll on social media the most. That's when I want to see what's happening, what are my friends and family up to, all of that good stuff. Maybe it's good that I don't know what everybody's doing at all times and they don't know what I'm doing at all times. I really almost thought about quitting this challenge just because I definitely do see the benefit, but I want to keep doing this challenge up until the point where I can kind of break the habit. Once the habit is broken, it will be easier to have a healthier relationship with scrolling on social media. I really need to see it through to kind of know my final takeaway from doing no social media. I'm on day 17 of no social media, and honestly, this month has flown by, which is really surprising. There have been so many days, I would say 99% of the day, without even thinking about social media. When I started this, that would not have been the case. When I started this, it was a natural instinct to immediately go to my phone even before I knew what I was doing. It was just ingrained in my muscle memory. I stopped using social media 30 days ago, and here are the 5 things I learned. Number 1, absolutely nobody cared. I don't know why I thought I was so big and so important to think that somebody would care that I'm not posting. And to be very honest, if you're not right in front of me and I'm not choosing to spend my real life time with you, I probably don't want you to know every single little detail that's going on in my life. I mean, maybe that's harsh, but I mean, it's so true. If I wanted you to know every single detail of my life, I would make the time to spend time with you in person. Literally nobody cared. The world did not end. Everything was fine. Number 2, my brain is clearer. It is not full of junk. It definitely took up so much less mental space. At the end of the day, it kind of felt like it was a chore taken off my list. It was like one less responsibility I had to do, one less thing I had to worry about. It made my life so much clearer. For example, I've literally never met Selena Gomez or Hailey Bieber, but I don't need to know about all their drama. I don't need to know about all the spits and spats and all that stuff. It's none of my business, and it makes my head clearer not having to look at that and think about that. Taking this virtual reality out of my brain for a month, it's been refreshing. Number 3, my sleep is better and my morning routine is better. Before I did this challenge, I would go to sleep on social media and I would wake up on social media, and it was just a terrible habit, and it was just instinct. Like I had no reason to do that. It was just like what was part of my nightly routine and my morning routine. And once I got out of that habit, I fell asleep really fast at night. And in the mornings, I was able to do what I actually wanted to do rather than just mindlessly scroll and not be productive. But I definitely have had better sleep, especially because I'm not spending 2 extra hours when I'm laying in bed scrolling. Number 4, deleting social media has helped me get time back. Everybody is busy. Everybody says they don't have time for things, but when you really sit down and think about it, the amount of time you were scrolling on your phone, you could be doing something else. And that doesn't mean that you have to be productive in all hours of those times. Throughout this journey, it has been kind of trying to find that balancing act of, okay, just because I'm not scrolling, that doesn't mean I can't rest. That doesn't mean I can't do fun things, right? That doesn't mean I have to be productive 24/7. It just means let's get rid of this bad habit. And what I did find out though, especially at the beginning in this challenge, is that I was replacing one bad habit with another. So even though I wasn't scrolling on social media, I was scrolling on Amazon, and it was just not a good thing because replacing that one bad habit with another bad habit, it was not helping me in the long run. I definitely quickly had to retrain myself. Deleting social media doesn't mean you have to be productive 24/7. That's not what I'm saying. Those are 2 kind of huge extremes. You need to find your happy balance. Especially at the beginning of the challenge, I was trying to be productive 24/7 and I was really burning myself out. And that's not healthy either. Once you kind of get out of the habit of being on social media, of scrolling in general, it will feel so much better and it'll be so much easier to be consistent with it. You just have to stick with it. If you're truly trying to break the habit, you have to do it for an extended period of time. Honestly, I feel like a month is minimum to be able to break this habit, especially if you are as addicted as I am. This month was about restructuring my time and focusing in on positive things that benefit my life and benefit the people I love's life. And it's been really good to be able to spend more more FaceTime with the people around me and the people I care about without having a screen dividing us. When I first started this challenge, I was optimistic. And then I would say kind of the first weekend, I was annoyed and I wanted social media. After that first week, it kind of just got better and better and better. And I did see the benefits. I did see a clearer head. I did see better sleep. I did see more fulfillment. I got to spend time with the people I care about in person, and that's incredible and that's priceless. So if you think you're addicted to social media or your screen time, anything like that, and you're wanting to change that, I'd highly recommend you to go on a social media fast or deleting it altogether. Am I going to be deleting social media? With work, I can't really delete it. What I can do though, I can delete it on my phone. I can keep it on my iPad for work things. For Facebook, it's really easy to curate the people's content that you see. So even though maybe you have 2,500 friends on Facebook, you can literally curate it to only see your 8 people. And that's really nice. But honestly, I don't use Facebook for the social media aspect of it. I use it to look at events, local events that are happening. For volunteering things I do and for my work purposes, I do need to know what's going on in our community. And so I will keep Facebook. Instagram, honestly, I don't get anything beneficial from Instagram. The only thing I would say with Instagram is I think I'll keep Instagram because I do have some friends from college I do want to keep up with that don't have Facebook anymore. And with Instagram, I'll use it as a digital scrapbook. I'll post and ghost. I feel like maybe within this year, I could probably delete Instagram as easily as I deleted Twitter. I'm keeping TikTok, but I cannot scroll on TikTok anymore. I'm using TikTok as a search engine for specific advice, tips I need. For now, I'm not deleting social media, but I am restructuring how I'm using these social media platforms and the time I'm spending on them. And I'm so thankful for this month and everything I've learned and all the experiences I've been able to do because I have been off social media. Let me know in the comments if you've ever done a social media fast or if you're off social media, what platforms are toxic to you, what platforms are actually good for you. And I hope you enjoyed this video. Please make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and I will talk to you very, very soon. Bye.